And we are going live. Let's see if we can kill the computer again today. And naturally my nose starts to want to sneeze. Alright, seems like we're doing alright. 30 frames per second, 3.5 megabit. Now to wait for the participants. Or not participants, depending on how everybody is today. Mouse out of here. G'day Johnny. They're saying Greg and Handy Parts. Alright, everyone's jumping on because naturally it's nearly midnight here, so of course everybody's going to be here just as I'm going to sleep. Oh well. Ah, great. Video health. I'm dropping frames here and there. I'm blaming the... I'm still going to blame the Wi-Fi, so sorry about that. It's probably... say someone's watching Netflix. And I've got a Windows machine that's installing updates, so that'll probably be it. 3 o'clock, as in the morning or the afternoon. Hey, Castle Computers, chasing Capsians. Alright, well, you may have seen the title, Dumb Stuff We Forget. And that is because I am going to have to take this board that I was working on yesterday, and I just realised I need to turn off buffering on the webcam because it is out of sync. Just hang on there. Nope, wrong thing. I'm still getting used to this MacBook, so forgive me. Use preset. Use buffering? No. Okay. Hopefully that will bring things back into sync. Yeah, not much better. Oh well. Anyway, there's a problem with this board. 150 updates to go? Yes, there is. Handy Parts? Yes, I am on the NBN, but it's more a problem of what's going on inside the house as opposed to the upstream. I do get about a I get about 4500 4.5 megabit upload. So, g'day Nicholas Jackson. Anyway, there's one crucial thing missing on this board. That basically means it's now a junk board, and that is to the charging control, the charge chip. The programming current, we put like a 2K resistor to ground, and that's all fine. That works great. But the trouble is we need to be able to disable this. And to disable these charged chips, you have to basically let them float. And so in the way to make it float is to disconnect that 2K resistor from ground and just let it float. And then there's an internal pull-up, about 3 microamp pull-up or something. And that, when that starts floating up, it stops the charging. But I can't do that because I forgot to put a MOSFET on the underside of that 2K between the two resistor and the ground so that I could disconnect it. Anyway, so that was one thing. It wasn't the only issue. The other one is that when I put the display board along here and with the 16:2 display, I'll just grab one. Where are we? Here we go. Anyway, the 16:2 display, so now I'm going to have this like L-shaped contraption, and I thought, yeah, that means I'm going to need a 10x10 centimeter board, which is starting to get a little bit expensive. So I thought, oh, that's a bit of a pain. And then also I've decided that rather than having all these iPhone connectors here, I'm just going to do away with them because it's not going to be what this board's going to be used for really, and I'm just going to stick with the 4-pin header and then have daughter boards that come off that, or charge leads with daughter boards. So all in all, I'm going to end up changing this to be more like, let me show you, more like my USB current meter that I've got, which hopefully I'm not going to, use one of these sort of things. Now, I already have a design on this sort of format which uses this display and already has the coulomb counter built in. So all I have to do is add the charge control, the LiPo charger and the switchable load, as well as then perhaps you have some 4-pin socket, and then also a data line for whatever I want to use, whether I use serial or Bluetooth or whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to go with that sort of profile. So essentially this is now just junk. I will probably salvage the parts, like I definitely want the 168 off there and a couple of little bits and pieces. It's a bit of a shame, bit of a waste, but you know, that's the nature of prototyping. There's a lot of things you do your best when it's all virtual on the screen, but when it comes into your hand and you start building it, you tend to realize a lot of things, and henceforth you go through a couple of revisions before you even get started sometimes. So rather than deprive you all of any electronics building, I have to build myself another one of these volt current meters. So I thought I'd do that while I tell you all my sad story tonight. It looks like I've already told the sad story, so I guess I'll just build it anyway. The MacBook's running off Wi-Fi. As far as I know, there's no Ethernet on this MacBook. It's too thin. But I should have the Wi-Fi router in this particular office. Instead, it's in the next office, and I've got a block wall and a few other things in the way. It's dropping a couple of frames, but overall it seems to be surviving, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alright. How many boards did you have to get done that you have to scrap? They're sold as a 10 board batch, so I've got 10 of these useless things that will now go into my archive of mistakes in my life. I'm going to need a bigger box soon for that. As I said, yeah, it's just the nature of it. So with the freight and everything, that was like $40 Australian just to find out that it was a bit of a screw up. But yeah, if you're going to prototype things, then you got to expect that to happen. G'day Alex. Hey Philipsy. Have shit cell service. Oh well. Sorry about that, Alex. Mike, no drop. Oh well, yeah. I mean, the dropping isn't too bad. I mean, we're like 1.4% of frames. It's just, I think maybe Netflix in the other room is downloading in bursts or something like that. I'm not sure. Philipsy, yes, this is the new Vice I got a couple of days ago. I'm quite rather enjoying it. It is rather nice. Alright, let's get the show under the road. Just realised, what shunt am I using for this? 5 milliohm. Okay, that's fine. Naturally, I'm going to have to put the fan on. And I'm going to need my hot air. Without mistakes, we would never have WD-40 or duct tape. It's warming up. Fortunately, at least today has been a very good day. The last week, business has been more along the lines of where it used to be a year ago. So I'm quite happy about that. I'm quite tired because I didn't get to bed till about 3:30 last night, and then I was up at 8:30 this morning, and the first customers started turning up at 9. They weren't scheduled for that time, but no one cares about schedules around here. So, alright, let me just check the orientation of this part. I'm fairly sure this is the way I want it, but I want to double check. Actually, I think I might do it this way. Make sure I don't knock the webcam. Yep, this is going to work, I think. By the way, I did... Oh, I see the camera's in the way. Sorry about that. I did put the vice, this fibrous vice, into my product list. Right, Alex, we'll see you when you get back. I just realized once again I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm building this purely by memory. It's good exercise for the brain. Where did my shunt go? Oh, there it is. So yeah, it's really good to now be back into the flow of business where it was before, but it takes a lot of stress off me. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of work to be done during the day, stuff that usually takes longer than it should, but at least I've got my schedule being filled up. The last 12 months have been quite difficult in that respect. It's not a lot of fun when you go from being busy most of the day to having days where nothing's happening and you start to stress a bit. Hey, morning, Kraj. You haven't missed much at all. See the light is uh, let's see if I can move the camera around so you guys don't get blinded so badly. Seems like no matter where I put it, it's got the bloomin' flare of the LEDs. Hey, Amy. I'm sorry, guys. You're just gonna have to put up this for a little bit. I'll just put on what I have to under the under the magnifying glass. I'm not going to call it a microscope because it's not. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed that the board pretty much straight out of the box didn't work, but that was only because of my own dumb fault. So the trouble is, in the previous designs where I've used that charge control chip, it's never been um, micro-controlled. It's always just been standalone. So I've never had to do anything about explicitly switching it off because it does it itself when the conditions are right with the battery. But there's going to be a problem because as soon as you start discharging the battery, then through the load, then that charge is going to kick in and try and do its thing. Because it'll be like, hey battery, I see you dropping low, let me help you out there. I'm gonna, here, have some energy, have some volts. Okay. Oh man, I gotta get my, oh, why? Okay. Oh, naturally you're at the bottom of the pile. Ah. Fixing things. Oh, I swear I just heard something get caught in the fan then. Now I'm missing a crucial control line for the LiPo charger, and it's sort of it's a deal breaker, I'm afraid. So there's not much point me investing much else into it until I spin the new board. Okay, what are we after? Not you, not you. It's not you. You. And you. And you. 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 Alright, fairly sure I've got everything I need. Yeah, it happens. You know, it's annoying, but that's just the way it goes. So if you want to run with scissors, you got to accept that every now and then you're going to trip and stab yourself. And that's what I did to my bank account. I ran, spent the money on the expedited delivery, and I didn't realise my shoelace was undone, and yeah. Consequently now I've got a pair of scissors in my gut. Ah, man, I now want a 10 ohm resistor. Where am I going to get a 10 ohm resistor? Found it. Alright, move this pile of parts out of the way so I don't ruin even more things. Dab, come on. Alright. Paul isn't happy unless he makes more than one version of a board. Yeah, too right. It's like it will harm my sense of what is right in the universe if I don't take more than at least a few boards. I'd be like, that can't be right. It's not permitted. What did I do with my tweet there though? I could do without them costing me so much every time. But yeah, like I said, part of the deal. I guess you could call it a bit of a hobby too. And since these days I do not fly model aircraft, or more specifically, I don't fly helicopters at the moment. Um, I guess blowing, you know, 20 to 40 bucks on a circuit board isn't quite so bad when you consider that in the days when I used to fly the helicopters, it wouldn't be unusual to spend 50 bucks after each flight because something rattled loose or you landed a bit wrong or yeah, anything. It's just, yeah, helicopters are very good at blending money out of your wallet, but they are a hell of a lot of fun. You need to turn around. Yep, that LED is too large for those pads. That's a that's an 05, sorry, 0805 LED, and the pads for 0603. And also the resistor pad is actually for an 0402, and I'm putting 0603s on it because I'm a brute and I don't care. Alright, where's my one microfarad? I gotta say, this um, board holder is definitely the best I've ever had, without question. And I like the fact that it's rather generic, you know, it's not just an iPhone 6 holder or anything like that. It's like it will fit whatever board you can jam in there. 16 volt. Crikey, I didn't check the voltage rating on those. Okay, you guys are 25 volt, that's good. There's my diode. Too big. Too big. Too big. What about you guys? You too big? You'll be right. I'll just float you into place. Except I can't see which way you're orientated. Will there be version 2? Yeah, there will. Yep. Blades cost over 200 and 700. Yeah. Yeah, I think fixing things, when I get back into it, I will probably just stick with the 400 sizes for now. I enjoyed the crack. I just realised I can't even remember the name of the Align. That's right. Yeah, I enjoyed the Align 400, the original ones. Yeah, they were pretty easygoing. I mean, I know everyone these days is doing quads, but Yeah, quads are just too easy to fly. It's like any old person can fly a quad. Whoops, just moved the camera. Maybe I should see if I can find myself one of the classic GWS Dragonflies. See if I've got any hope of flying that thing anymore. Alright, hot air time. Come on, warm up. It's gone to sleep on me because I took too long. Is it heat proof? The Align 450 T-Rex, thank you very much. Thank you. Dreadful how the memory goes funny on you. Ah, so bad. Should I do a Lewis impersonation? So bad. So sad. Yeah, he does a much better job of mocking Trump. Ah, what are you doing jumping off like that? Oh, you don't have any solder on you, that's why. I can't remember if I answered you fixing things, but yeah, these fibrous board holders, they are heat proof, which is brilliant for morons like me who can't seem to. Come on, there we go. Oop, too much, too much. That's it. Yeah, if you go into my description products page, it's all in there. It's not even an Amazon link. It's just off to good old AliExpress. So no profiteering there on my behalf. Okay, I just realised the capacitor I'm wondering about. That's coming off the 3.3 regulator, so that's no problem at all. I can just put my standard 16 volt little cappy in there, and we'll be good. Okay, what next? 10k pull-ups for the I2C lines. We don't do a lot of polling on this I2C line, so 10k is perfectly fine. We only run at about 100 kilohertz rate. No need to go crazy with the 400 kilohertz. These little things will be talking to Raspberry Pi. Fixing things, you know, if you push that too much and start getting thumbs down again. It's always a crack up to see a thumbs down. It's like, okay, alright, did I did I ban somebody from another stream and they've come through and decided to demonstrate the extreme wrath? It's always fun. By the way, fixing things, these board holders are actually meant to be, this is how you're supposed to hold the board on the end like that. And that's if it's an iPhone board, things like that. I like to use the middle one. Given the fact that there are these, yeah, it's been recessed here, I'm assuming that's to hold a circuit board. I would Would have been nice if they recessed it about another mil down, but oh well. Is that a parts bin on the holder? Yeah, it's like you got. So this is all. You can see it's orientated for iPhones because we've got like A8, A7, whatever that is there. And yeah, so you could have your little parts things in there or up here. There's a few recesses there. I do love this stuff. I always have really liked this fibrous plastic. I don't know why. There's just something about the feel of it that I find quite nice. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes with this. Not really. I'm just going to solder this on the bare bench top. See if I can ruin my bench top. For cleaning, you sure about that? I'll believe you. For now. Until someone comes up with a better explanation. By the way, my overnight Samsung Galaxy S6 battery still has not arrived, so we're approaching a week now. I think it's time for me to get my money back on that. Which pleases me somewhat, because I didn't end up even needing it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was happy to use the battery, like charge it up and plug it in, get the data off and whatnot. But, you know, I really didn't want to have to do the hack job that I did to get the data off. But my hand was forced, and, well, you know, it worked. But I was a little worried about it. Okay, I need right angle connectors for that. Where are my right angle? Naturally, my right angle connectors are in the other room. Okay, let's see if this now holds fine. Let's try it this way. Yeah, that holds fine. Holds the chips for reballing. Okay. Oh, well, so many possible options. Ah, g'day ITM2, I didn't see you sneak in there. So yeah, unfortunately it's tonight's stream, you know, I was planning on finishing up the building of the testing unit, but well, that just kind of got changed on us, didn't it? The worst thing is it's going to be at least 2 or 3 weeks before I get around to... I'll be lucky to even get it, the new design up. The fun thing is it's going to be a completely new design, although at least I do have... Um, I've already got a reference design that I'm working off. Yeah, one of my existing boards. Come on. Yeah, I know it's bent, but there's a trick. There we go. Now we're good. Okay. I suppose I should probably see if this even works. Trying to think, what can I use? See you, Bobby. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it, as always. Alright. I am going to concurrently plug this into the fan drive. Although I don't need to, come to think of it. Huzzah, finally. Some quietness. Have I got enough length there? No. That's okay. Not really what these nano or micro clasps are meant for, but I'm just going to have to do with what we've got. Okay. See, power on, and we're going for a bang. Ah, all we got is a green light. How utterly boring. Alright, well that pretty much is probably working. I haven't bothered to write the firmware for this because it's already available on the Adafruit website of the person who's going to be using this. So there's pretty much zero inclination on my side to go and write any source code for it, considering that they're going to have to do it for their own requirements. The trick with this particular chip, this voltage and current sensor chip, is that you have to know all your calibration values. You've got to know what your shunt is. There's just a whole. It'll give you the data, but it's up to you to program it with the correct values to start with, so that you can either have it so that it automatically computes it into human readable format, or whether you just take the data raw and do it all in your own software on the machine. Fixing things. This is a solar panel current and voltage sensor, so it will. It basically just sits in line with the um, plus and minus lines coming out of the solar panel. I almost touched those two together. That would have been a classic. Would have been nice sparks. So that gives you an idea of whether it's charging or whatever. It's more of a diagnostics thing, from what I understand from what the client has given me as their brief. So they're not really trying to get a precision readout or anything like that. They're just simply saying, okay, are we charging batteries? Is it within normal range? If not, then we'll go out on site and fix it up. Yeah, good guess. That's right, yeah, solar. And yeah, you can probably get these things. I mean, the Adafruit one is essentially the identical layout. The difference between this one and the Adafruit one is that this will cope with about 15 to 20 amps. These terminal headers are 20 amp rated, and even though that's only a 2512 shunt, it should be able to cope because it's only 5 milliohms, and it's got a pretty good amount of thermal heat sinking either side of it. As far as I recall, I've got it rated, so it's only going to be dropping about 2 watts, which definitely should not be a problem for that. At least in theory. And if it is, that's fine, because I've designed it so I can actually put a larger shunt onto it. So if we're finding that the 5 milliohms is simply not keeping up, or it's dropping too much heat, then we can get a beefier air-cooled type shunt. You may have seen them. Let's see if I can find one. They're pretty neat little things. What about microcontrollers? No. Analog digital converters? No. Here we go, shunts. Where are you? Air-cooled shunts. I mean, they're obviously almost all air-cooled one way or another, but you know what I mean. Here we go. Let's turn that off. Okay, this is a 50 milliohm shunt, and you can see that it's engineered quite differently. So instead of being like a normal flat resistor, it's just a rolled over coil of metal. So it fits on the same place, but it has a much higher wattage rating because of the extra air cooling available to it. Yeah, you can tell it's not done by Apple because there's labeling on there. Now the downside with using these fellas is that they're quite a lot more expensive. So like these 2512 type shunt resistors, they're probably 20-30 cents each, depending on what quality, what temperature rating, what tolerance and things like that. Whereas these air-cooled ones, they're closer to about 50 cents to $1, depending on how many you buy, of course. Anyway, but it's nice to have the options, and that's generally how I like to design my circuit boards, is to have options so they don't have to do too many prototypes. But as we've seen, every now and then you can end up with one deal breaker mistake and you have to start again. But that's okay. Like I said, you expect these things to happen, but you kind of hope they don't. And there's markings where to put the components, yeah. The only thing is I don't have a board view for it. That reminds me, I do need to write the Eagle PCB board view reader for Open Board View. As I said, just one of those things that are on the list. Yeah. Oh, here comes the sneezes again, or the want to sneeze. I think right now my biggest priority is getting that microscope, and I've got a couple of financial things I need to sort out, and they should be done come November. I should be quite a different person, hopefully, in a good way. And I don't mean physically, I just mean in terms of what I can do, what sort of options I've got ahead of me. Start saving for a house, that's for sure. Okay, it's kind of sad. I used to have a house, but in a different country, and now I don't. I don't like that. Do not like not having a house for myself, as in under my own name. I think it's one of those fundamental sense of security things. I know a lot of people are quite happy renting, but I don't know. Particularly when you've got animals like cats or something like that, and you know that in order to keep them suitably protected, you need to have all these fences, things like that. And then if you're renting and someone goes, I think I want you to move out in 3 months, and you kind of go, oh crap. And then you've got to try and find another place that will let you have pets, and then you want to be able to build a whopping great big fence again. And most of the landlords are like, hell no, you can't go modifying things. Unless they don't have a fence, in which case they'll be like, yeah, go ahead. Don't expect us to pay you for it though. Anyway, so it'd be nice to have my own property. I'd rather live on a bare block of land with a caravan and have been able to fence it up than rent. I'd pay for something that converts Eagle projects into board view and I don't part with money easily. Oh, well, Australia, you're not going to have to pay for it because it is something that I am planning on doing. It's just a case of doing it. Fortunately, the Eagle PCB format is just XML and it's readable. It's fairly understandable. Uh, Most of the time, you can just look through it and it makes sense. Just trying to think. There's a few things I have to digest in it, like obviously pardon me, all the track information, all that won't really get conveyed into OpenBoard View because it doesn't really know what to do with it. It hasn't been designed to handle that sort of information. It just simply wants part locations, net names, and that's it. I probably could put in a track or polygon rendering system, but I have a feeling it may slow down OpenBoard View a fair bit. It was a bug. Uh, the graphic toolkit that OpenBoard View is written in, it's what we call a immediate mode graphic toolkit. So in terms of CPU usage, it's quite high relative to the amount of detail you put into it because it's just redrawing everything really quickly, and you're sort of relying on the fact that modern processors are quick enough to handle it. So if we start drawing comprehensive filled polygons such as track layouts and all that, it could be a little bit complicated. Yes. Come on. I was going to. What? OBV should cost money, in my opinion. Well, I could, but there are certain legal issues with that. I mean, there's nothing to say that someone can't fork a copy of the current OpenBoard View and commercialize it. It is under the MRT license, so therefore, it's perfectly legal, and I've got no qualms with that. That's the nice thing about the MRT license. I just haven't felt compelled to do it. So, but yeah, the binary PCB for the pads. Oh man, that I'll be very happy the day am able to decode it. Definitely. Yeah, Cryo, don't feel overly obligated or anything like that. I mean, that's just it. We all have our expenses, and life can be pretty brutal at times. Uh, there's a few projects that I donate to, like DD Rescue. I've donated a moderate amount over the last few years because that single piece of software has allowed me to make a lot of money with this work here. And the developer, Antonio, he's always responding very quickly to any new ideas and requests or bugs. So, that in my book means he gets my money whenever it comes up. There's obviously other charities I donate to, such as the animal refugees, animal refuges, and things like that. Some people sort of think you should send money to human charities, but in my opinion, the animals need more care right now. Humans seem to be pretty well covered, at least in first world countries like Australia. If someone were to download a pirate torrent of Altium, they could. Whoops, yep, and not say that. Maybe we should get Dave Jones to do it. That would be interesting. Get Dave Jones to convert the iPhone PCB files into text ACS files. Yes. Yeah, that's right. I really actually don't know, and I gotta admit, with the work I'm doing right now, I haven't even had the chance to. I've probably forgotten most things in OpenBoard View. This is what I was saying the other night, or I think it was here, or whatever. Um, when it comes to coding, I feel like I've got to binge code. So if I'm going to work on OpenBoard View, then it's going to be a 1 month or 2 month section where I just work on it, and there's none of this prototyping or anything like that. Any spare time I get, I'll have to be working on OpenBoard View, because once you lose the momentum of the development, it's too much hard work to get back into it, particularly with a large project that it is. Okay, it's not a colossally large project, but it's in the 5 to 10,000 line size now, which means when you get into it, you have to reacquaint yourself with so many things. It's not unusual for many developers to duplicate a lot of their work simply because they had forgotten they'd done it before. That's the same for backup too for me. Great backup data on the fly software. Fixing things, what's that? That's like a Windows type thing, I presume. It's not an obligation. You're putting something out there for other people, haven't done invested amount of time. It helps people in the community, makes good. Yeah. So, I mean, I have no problem putting a lot of things out in the community. I've said this before. Almost all the software that I've ever written is under the BSD revised license, which means anybody can take it and do what they like with it. I like that kind of license because, from my perspective, if I'm working on a project and I see a library, like someone's already done the work, it would be nice to be able to use that with minimal legal obligations. And yeah, I guess I'm sort of like trying to do unto others what I'd want to be done unto me. That kind of sounds a bit sus. Yeah. And it's the same with the electronics work, things like that. Yeah, I'm happy to share out what I can. I am six skills. Okay, you can open up the PCB files. The trick is, can you export them to ASC files, which is the ASCII version of the PCB format? That's the trick. Because what we're trying to find is someone who can accidentally, not intentionally, take these iPhone PCB files that are running around. Usually, a lot of the iPhone repair forums have a tarball or a RAR or a zip archive of all the latest iPhone board views and schematics, but the board views are in PCB format. And for some reason, no one's converted them to ASC format. I'm not sure why. Open board view of a scanner so it shows what's wrong with the board. Yes. Lewis Rossman's been asking for that for a long time. I gave him a couple of options, so he didn't like them. Yeah, I mean, there's the first one. If you're on Twitter and you've followed my tweets or whatever, you'll see I did that about a year ago. I gave Lewis an option, and like I said, he didn't really like that. So the next option I gave him was actually for the software to point a finger out of the screen and say, "You're the problem." So he still didn't like that. I don't know. Can't satisfy anyone. So it's like learning to pyro flip again after a year of not flying. Yep, that would be about right. Fixing things, yeah. Yep. Okay, maybe not as hard as doing a pyro flip, but getting close. Yeah. I could never get the pyro flips right. More often than not, I'd end up just doing the lawnmower impression at best. So what have we got? We've been ticking along for an hour. Oh, it's actually not too late. I might be able to get on and... I wonder if Chris Long... Where is Chris Long tonight? Chris, I'm disappointed in you. Why haven't you turned up on the stream? I need to be able to prep you for what you're going to be streaming yourself today. I see you did a very long stream the other day. That was impressive. Uh, I guess if you're set up for it, it can be easy to just let it to run. Like if you've got jobs coming in all day. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what happens when the microscope arrives here with the camera and I start working on all these iPhone boards that I've got, whether it'll be a whole day sort of streaming. I will forewarn everybody that because I have not got any experience in doing iPhones under the microscope for that sort of fault, like doing tri-stars or backlights and things like that, what you're going to be witnessing when I get the microscope is my progression towards maybe being competent enough to do that sort of thing. So I've got my dozen odd dud boards that I need to, that I can have a shot at fixing. So it's going to be a fair few days, maybe a couple of weeks of train wrecks. So if you want to see a train wreck and lots of disasters and not learn anything, then maybe you will want to watch the broadcasts. If you want to see how things are done properly, do not watch the broadcasts. I'm hoping that maybe I'll have people who are competent, such as Chris Long or Jason, or maybe even Jessa. She's competent, but I'm not expecting her to turn up at all, to offer in commentary what I can sort of do while I'm trying to do it. He's sleeping. Oh, man. What's the maximum width opening of this PCB holder? Okay, Axel. Alright, well, there's two different widths. The first one is the proper one, and we will get my exotic calipers, which I use left-handed, which completely befuddles me because everything's upside down. And we'll call that 46 millimeters. That's it. Okay, that's for that opening. And the other way is when you... Good God, man, this is worse than trying to... Okay, it's not worse. It's almost as bad as trying to set the date on iOS 9 or something later on the iPhone when you need to reset it and you can't get a signal to synchronize. I don't know what they were thinking. And so therefore the maximum, is, what have we got? 90 something? Yeah, we've got about 90 odd millimeters. So there you go, that's the maximum. Alright. We'll get the microscope and it will be like day and night. Ah, yes. Yeah. People always want to watch that. Fails that it looks like tech racks. If we're lucky, there might be a few burning, a few effigies being burnt or sacrifices. Alright. Perspective would be hard to master at first, so be prepared for the frustration, alright? Thank you. I will be aware of that now that you've informed me. I am going to be starting with there'll be no Barlow on it initially. So I'll be working on the 100mm sort of depth. I am ordering a 0.7 Barlow, and that will give me 150mm. And I think there'll be a fair compromise between usability, because I've noticed a lot of the people who have the 0.5 Barlow, they're sort of like, reaching up, trying to get under the microscope, get above the microscope. So I'm hoping with the 0.7, it should give me enough working room, but also let me not stretch my neck out like a giraffe. That's the theory, but, well, theories haven't really served me too well because, I theoretically had this all designed and, well, that didn't work out. Oh, well. Johnny, yeah, I wasn't able to find these on eBay, which is why I've got the AliExpress link on the products thing. They arrive fairly quickly. That particular one that I've linked, if you get it sent as an e-packet, as in the parcel form, don't use the Hong Kong mail or the China mail or whatever. They should have the e-packet version. I think it's only like $10 or something like that, and at least that's trackable, and it seems to be a little bit quicker. So that was the compromise I found, which I was happy with. I couldn't find anyone that did EMS at the same price for this. It is a moderately heavy board. It's, like I said, it's about 250 grams. Right, Rick, I'm assuming when you say that's a bit right there, I'm assuming you mean with regards to like having to giraffe your head up. Yeah. So it's going to be curious to see. 0.7 might be an ideal compromise, or it could be just complete bollocks. At least it's not too expensive on these particular microscopes. I've noticed the SM Barlow lenses are only about $20 or $30, whereas the ZM ones are substantially more expensive. Fortunately, I'm not getting a ZM type microscope. Theory and practice. Theory is, yeah, exactly. Yeah. 20 quid postage. Blimey heck. Yeah, it's a little crazy that it's 20 quid postage. Was that with the e-packet? So it was definitely less than that. And I mean, 20 quid, that's about it's about 35 Australian dollars. I mean, I didn't even pay that much for the whole thing, I think. Yeah, I think, what are these, like $25? I can't remember now. Alright. Take care of the neck. Use a timer so you don't do more than 2 hours on a board. I will probably not run into too much risk of that happening because generally after about 15-20 minutes, I got to get up, do the rounds, check on everything here. Because of my hearing loss issue, I cannot, even with the security cameras, because I can't hear everything what's going on outside. I just really have a very strong urge to get up, go around, check on everything, do a bit of perimeter check, so to speak, and then come back in and carry on with work. You'll need a 1x if doing trace repair. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to do. Is I was going to get the just the protector lens cover, which will be the 1x. So yeah, the one I will be ordering first, so I can slip under the 1,000 Australian dollar import duty limit. That will be the 4-inch 1x version. Alright, I think I'm gonna close up. I've done what I had to for this. Yeah, sorry about this being a disaster though. I guess that's just the way it goes. And tomorrow is probably going to be a little bit quieter for me. The last couple of days have been a bit crazy. I've only got one laptop and one 6S screen replacement scheduled for tomorrow. There will be other things that pop up, or at least I hope so. But it'll be nice to have a slightly quieter day. The last 3 days have been quite hectic. The stupid thing is, it's pretty much a normal day for most people, but when you work for yourself and you get a bit lazy, yeah, it can be hard to tolerate those full days of work. Oh, right. Okay, so you got the e-packet. How much was it? A much better price at the e-packet for you? I certainly hope it was. And I got to say, these new benches that I've got, they're being absolutely brilliant. Much better than what I was working on before. Everything feels cleaner. The stand-up bench that I've got over on the other side, that has been really good because I can put the laptops and the desktops on there, and it keeps it away from this sit-down bench, which I really want to keep with more just the electronics work. Yep, Crowd, got to keep the kiddies safe. Yeah, if anything happens to them, you'll see a very crushed man. So, £2.50. Okay, that's a lot better. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not as quick as the EMS or couriers, as far as I can tell. I don't know. It could be different going off to the UK, but it's something I look for now whenever I do an AliExpress. Is does they have an e-packet? Because yeah, it's that compromise between traceability and speed and cost. So I'm happy with it. All right. 25. That's good. Yeah, okay. So that's worked out about what mine was too. Well, I really hope you enjoy it or find it useful. The only thing I will mention now, when you get it, these little chaps here, they will feel sloppy. So what you got to do, and you don't have to, it's just me being pedantic, unscrew the grub nut, or that's not really a grub, that one's just a normal Phillips head, but anyway, unscrew that, pull it back a bit, so that it, I'll just show you anyway, where's my driver, there we go. Look at me, I'm pretending to be AVE. Okay, so you can see there they've drilled out the keyway to allow for the screw to go in, but it was kind of pointless. They should have just left it flat and put a damn grub screw in there. But no, that to make it difficult. So anyway, so I just pull it back a bit and then tighten it down, and that at least takes the slop out of the knob. Whereas before, when it's in the hole's just too big, and it just flops around. It's really quite annoying. So that's just one minor modification. Yeah. 32 US with e-packet. Yeah, that's pretty good. You want gold. Random gold. I wanted blue. I got blue. I'm happy. So Yeah. Maybe you can all trade amongst each other. Looking for a board holder that's not spring loaded. Yeah, I, I'm probably going to keep that old spring loaded T1 that we all know, and I'm going to put it up on my wall, and it's going to be like, in games when you level up on things and you get new equipment, and you sort of look back on your development tree, your skill tree, and you can see all the earlier trashy things. So maybe I should have a wall of equipment development and all my trashy versions. So start out with your fingers, although I probably don't want to cut them off. But so that's what you held the board with first, while you try and solder, and then you have maybe a peg, and then maybe remember those um, dual arm with crocodile clips and the magnifying glass type board holders. God, those things were awful. The crocodile clips would only just like grab on one point on your board and then spit it out when you moved them. Anyway, now I'm getting carried away. Bling bling. Devil is in the details. Anyway, so here you go. I'm really enjoying this one. It was actually Orbit 8 that had a video on it, and I saw this, and it was exactly what I was looking for. I have seen the ones that Jessa has in her shop, but like I said, they are dedicated for particular iPhone boards, like an iPhone 6 or whatever. And I wanted this generic one because I figured, well, it fits the iPhone boards just fine, and it's got enough mass in it, and the fibrous clamps here, they're they're perfectly ideal for holding those. But I've tried it; it holds the iPhone boards just perfectly fine. So to me, this was a much better investment rather than getting a dedicated holder. Helping hands, that's it. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Stream pimp and repair. Oh man, how far can you pimp these things? So that's probably going to be a whole series of yeah. Maybe I should knock this thing out. I don't want to be advertising them all the time. Okay, that's a bit harsh. I shouldn't do that. All right. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you very much, everybody, for popping in. And sorry about the disappointment with the charge board, but that's development for you. And this is a very real thing. It's how it happens. You burn money up. And yeah. So if anyone says to you, develop a product for me, make sure you like triple or maybe times 10 what you think it's going to cost, and that maybe might get to the point where you may make some profit at the end of the day. I'm gonna go and do some administration work. Yay, that's business for you. You got to do administration. And I'll catch up for you maybe tomorrow. Until then, take care. I'll see you later.